How are you doing today, sir?
I'm doing great. So what I was starting to hint at before you hit record is that we have very auspicious interview history. And you might not remember this, but I hope that you brought some form of, some sort of protection for your journey home today. The last time you and I talked was in San Diego at Comic-Con.
Hold on.
I was about to release a film called City of Ember.
Oh, that's right, yes.
We spoke on the terrace.
Yes.
And when you got up to walk away from the interview, you walked into the auditorium and had an injury.
Oh, shit, that's right.
That was the last person you spoke to before.
And by the way, Fox movie.
Fox movie, that's right. So all I'm saying is your chances are not great for making it on the drive home today.
I'm going to try. People who are watching this are probably like, what the F are they talking about? A beam collapsed on my head at Comic-Con, and let's just say it was an adventuresome weekend.
Can you hyperlink to...
There's no video of me getting hurt. But there is some... I've seen some video of the beams falling.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Whoa.
But not of me actually getting hit.
If this was 2015 and that accident happened, there would be 30 angles of the same accident.
100%.
But anyway,
That's so funny.
I'm glad you survived.
I didn't remember that you were the last interview. But that's very funny.
Well, I think it's natural when you get a sort of head trauma that you forget the very last conversation you have right before.
Yeah, no, I literally, like, what's funny is when I walked in, I'm like, I've interviewed you before, but I can't remember exactly the details.
I remember that it really hurt my head to talk to you last time, but I can't remember why.
Yeah, exactly. So jumping into your film, what did you... how do I want to start this? What did you learn from the test screening process or friends and family screenings that maybe impacted the final release?
Actually, in the past, I've had really destructive test screenings. Like City of Ember was a case where that was a really horrible process. I feel like the movie was very much hurt by that process. But with Poltergeist, the main two things that I learned from the first, and we screened it twice, but the first one was the only one where there was something learned from it, was that the audience wanted more clown, and so that was very clear, and it also explains the marketing for the film, and wanted to see more of. I don't want to get into spoiler territory, but see more of the other side. And I had more, and I sort of held back, and that was a sort of a very clear audience reaction.
How long was your first cut versus the final release?
It was almost exactly the same length.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, the movie. I had a much. I'm very brutal on my assembly cut. I cut while I'm shooting. My editors worked very diligently to put together a pretty tight cut, and there were additional scenes that were cut, but they were cut before I even showed the film to the studio, and it was just a byproduct of the straightest line of telling the story.
So you have deleted scenes that are just sitting somewhere.
Yeah, I'm actually putting them together for an extended cut. It's my first time ever doing that, but Fox Home Video asked me to make the full length version of the film, and I showed them what that cut was because I had all those scenes laying around, and some of them even had practical effects stuff that was really well polished, so I was able to put it together without needing to sort of turn the engine back on in post-production. It was basically finished scenes, and I'm kind of into it. It's a different it's a slightly different energy in the beginning of the film. It takes a little bit more time as we get to know the house and the family, and that was all stuff I really liked. But for reasons of storytelling and energy, they didn't make the final cut.
How long is the extended cut going to be compared running time compared to the theatrical cut?
I I think it's an additional 7 or 8 minutes.
Oh, so it's solid.
Yeah, it goes into 100-minute territory for the film.
Is most of the deleted stuff at the beginning?
It is. It is. I'm trying to think. What else there was. There was an alternate ending that I shot that was a little bit of a joke. So I kind of just put it in my pocket when I left Canada and filming. I would say most of the stuff happens in the first half of the film.
With an alternate ending, are you keeping the ending that's theatrically going, or is the extended cut going to have the alternate ending, or will that be like a separate thing?
That's going to be a separate thing. That was something that never worked as well as focusing the movie back on the family, which is what the current ending does. And for me, this is from beginning to end the story of this family being tested and then finding the spark within themselves to stay together, to hold on to the unit, and so that was important to stay.
One of the things I actually really enjoy about the film is that there is no foreplay. You just jump right in, and I would like to see the extended cut to see more of the family dynamic, but it is like it just jumps in. Was that something you decided to do? Was that studio notes? Was that test screening notes? How did you get to that thing where it's almost immediately shit's going wrong?
I just, I felt, it's funny because I think it takes, by modern standards, I feel like it actually takes a beat longer than a lot of films, because there's still drama that actually sort of gets up on its legs. But I like movies to get to the point. I don't really I can really enjoy somebody else's long movie, but when I'm telling a story, I really like it to be efficient. I think 90 minutes is a perfect length for a movie.
You studied a lot of Woody Allen. Go on.
It's funny. Woody Allen came and spoke to us when I was at UCLA, and I think that was one of the most influential lectures I've ever had in my life. He demystified the process of editing in a way that I actually have held on to in every stage of filmmaking. I'll share that philosophy if you're interested, because it was actually really cool. I think a lot of filmmaking fans of your site will get something out of it. But he basically sat us down and told us that the process of filmmaking for him is shooting, coming back, and as he's shooting and as he wraps the film, he's like, this is my masterpiece. It's the best work I've ever done. And then he watches the assembled cut, his first time sitting back and watching it in the cutting room, and he thinks, this is it. I'm finished. I'm a hack. Everyone's gonna know. And then the process of editing is trying to walk back from that feeling towards the feeling you had at the end of the shoot. And you need to try to get the film as close as you can to that first rush of confidence and excitement. Anyway, that I think that perfectly encapsulates the journey of a director with a film in the cut.
He said that, I believe I read an interview with him where he said Manhattan and Annie Hall were both pieces of trash. He just was like, and you watch those movies and, the original cut of Annie Hall was, I guess, a mess, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, and I love, just as a movie fan, I love stories about movies changing in the cut, finding different energies, or that stuff is so exciting. And that's why I'm actually kind of really thrilled to be able to release a longer version of the film, because there's really good acting in the scenes that were cut. No, there's a scene of human drama that was in the middle of the film that was a really great scene of Sam Rockwell and Rosemarie DeWitt, and it was a pure character scene. It didn't move story forward at all, which is why ultimately it had to go. But it'll be nice for it's a good case for restoration.
Why are clowns so scary?
Poltergeist. I think Poltergeist made clowns scary. I think it helped, but it is a very different context for a clown. It that goes back to the sort of kind of circus circus kind of carny feel of these people who are entertaining us, who are also potentially trying to take our young lives away from us and murder us. But I think Poltergeist destroyed clowns as a toy bracket, and the reason that that they reached for a clown in the first one is because of that unblinking smile, right? It's a mask of joy, and there's nothing more terrifying than a pure expression of happiness. As humans, I think we distrust people that are too happy or wear those kind of cheerful faces too easily, and so I think there is just this unblinking terror that comes from a never-ending smile.